So yeah, hello, my name is Grzegorz Mazur. I'm from Vile Monarch, and I will tell you about growing pains we had and we still have in the company, about how we scaled from the very small studio to a little bigger one. So first of all, a little about me. So I'm one of the bosses and a technical director at Vile Monarch. We are from Warsaw, from Poland. I'm 12 years or more in the industry, 7 years in Vile Monarch as a boss. Previously, I was working at 11-bit Studios, where I was a programmer. I did This War of Mine, for example, and Steepocus Journey. I'm a seasoned lecturer and a musician. If you want to check out my music and you like progressive rock, check out Pale Mannequin. And here's my email if you want to talk. I know, share some, experience and or just, everything or work with us. Feel free to write me directly email. And yeah, a little bit about the company. So we are Vile Monarch. We call ourselves Hard Rock Game Studio because we always wanted to be a hard rock stars, rock stars. So I will tell you a lot about the company because it's the central topic of the talk. What challenges we had along the history. So we started in 2015. We did a couple of games on all relevant platforms, and we grew from 3 people to 80 along these years. And what's also visible from this chart is that from the very beginning we are trying to do at least 2 games at the same time. So we had like a couple teams inside of the company, and we go further into that as we are older and older. So currently we are organized like that. We have 5 teams. 2 teams are big, working on games that are very advanced and will be announced very, very soon. 2 teams are smaller, working on earlier stages of a new games or just a smaller game. And we have tiny R&D team that works constantly on the new pitches, new game ideas, so that all the teams will have something to do in the future. So this is problematic, and that's what I will tell you a little about. Because when we grew from just a bunch of friends to 80 people and we have a couple of teams, we have challenges we never expected because we are unexperienced in running the company, and yeah, here we are. So yeah, we had a dream with Kacper, my friend, to start a studio because we wanted to do games in our own way, the games we love, in our own, yeah, our own ideas. So this was the dream. And we thought, okay, so let's start the studio. We'll just do games, and it will be fun. So this was the dream, but the reality is that we have to care about tons of other things that are not about doing video games, like creating procedures, like in corporations, defining tools, pipelines, working on HR, communication, legal stuff, funding stuff, and general management, right? So there's a lot of that. So first takeaway. Or maybe not. So I will, because we have very short time, so I will just show you a couple of problems we had, a couple of solutions we had, but I'm not saying this is the only way to solve or to run the company, because you have to adapt to your own situation, to your own people, to what you actually do. But I think still our case is quite typical, because we have to take care about money, because we don't have an infinite budget. We have take care about hiring people. It's difficult. So yeah, so I hope you will learn something from what we'll say. I will say. First takeaway would be that the guys who run the studios, should probably focus mostly on running the studio and not doing video games. But our main job, besides earning money, because I think this is the most important thing in the company, that's why you probably start the company. But to achieve that, you have to let everyone in the company focus on development. So they will do what they are best at, what they like to do, and they shouldn't be worried about anything else, and not waste time on anything else, because there may be, it's not maybe very good to waste time of your lead programmer on a recruitment process if it's not necessary, right? Let him lead the team and produce the game. So this is the first takeaway. It's obvious, but it's not that easy when we start doing that. Yeah. So when I thought about history of Vile Monarch, I identified 3 stages of growth we had. Of course, there are more in the future, but we are not there, so I will not tell you about, of course. But the first stage is when there's less than 20 people. And I would say in this stage you will be fine. You don't care about this presentation, because if you are not planning to grow beyond that, you will be fine. You won't have the problems that there are further. Because probably you work with your friends, you know these people very well, maybe you know them for a very long time, you communicate with each other very easily and often, so it's very easy and it's very fun on this stage. And yeah. But a problem starts when you start hiring more and more people. There are more strangers that you don't know personally, and it's harder maybe to know them personally, especially now in pandemic. So there's a couple of things we believe you have to do, and we did, that helped us to help your company grow and work efficiently. So the first thing I would suggest is starting with a mission. Define the mission of your company, and not just doing games, because tons of companies do it, right? So the same way as you create a pitch for your game, an elevator pitch that will be catchy and will make you stand out and you will be unique, think about the same for your company. So have an elevator pitch of your company, right? So in Vile Monarch, we say we are hard rock game studio because we didn't want to call ourselves indie game studio because everyone does it. So it creates some cool atmosphere around the company. And we also say we craft compelling fantasies through game systems. So we take some fantasies from real world and try to portray them not through narrative only, but through game systems, because we believe we are very good at game design and defining the systems and so on. So all kinds of simulation games, strategy games, and sort of stuff like that. So we have a pitch, and we are quite it helps us stand out, right? So we can show it on the recruitation, on a trade shows, and we can also repeat it in the company constantly, so people will understand why they are here and why here and not in the other company, right? So this is important. And the next thing is identifying your core values, not creating them, because I think, at least in our case, it was like when we were a small team, we had core values because we are like specific human beings. We wanted to work in a specific way. So I would say that you shouldn't force them, but just identify in what values you value, or around what values you work, and would like to work in the future, and try to identify them and write them down, and communicate to the whole team. So hey guys, we work with these rules, right? So it's also easier when new people join your company, that they will understand what's your culture, what's important for you, and maybe what's less important. This is an example of Vile Monarch's core values. Yeah, it's in our company, it's like an additional non-written agreement that there are these core values, right? So it goes both ways. So if someone joins us, we expect that they will play along these rules, but also they can expect company to play along these rules. So for example, if someone is not happy, I don't know, because we don't care enough about that person in some way, he can easily, or she can easily come and say, hey guys, we agreed on that and it's not met. So let's talk about it, right? So it helps a lot to, first, more work on your culture, and so everyone will understand what kind of company they are in. Next thing, work on structure. We need to have structure. I believed that we can be flat structure, no structure, but it doesn't work when you grow. So yeah, 3 stages of growth, as I said to you already. So the next stage was between 20 to 40 people. So it was the moment when not only my friends were working in the company, but some strangers, but still I was able to meet everyone, to know everyone, and it was quite still easy to know what everyone does in the company. But you still need some kind of hierarchy on this level already, because it's already very well checked that you can manage efficiently up to 7 people. So if you have, like, in our case, two co-founders, then you need some managers already that will manage all other guys. And then the third stage is between 40 to 100 people. Maybe it may be bigger, I don't know, but we are not there yet. That you desperately need hierarchy, and a very well defined hierarchy to work efficiently. So when you grow above 20, you have to start training your leaders and managers, identifying them in the team, promoting people, and working a lot on that, because management and leadership is a very hard thing, and not everyone knows it, how to do it properly. So you should, find these people, train them, and work on the structures. So in Vile Monarch, it looks like it's crazy one. Sorry, maybe not crazy, but ugly. But I think it shows what's going on. So between 20 to 40 people, besides me and Kasper, we identified like a heads of departments, head of design, head of code, head of QA. So we had this small team of us and these heads, like it was around 7 people. And we are able to easily manage like 40 people below us, it was manageable. But then when we grow above 40, it started to be impossible to manage it properly because each of us had like a lot of people to manage, and it didn't work. So that was the moment that we started to do it too late, but we fixed that we created something we call middle management. So besides this high management, we need another layer of managers that will work below us, and then these managers will work with some people on the very bottom, I would say. So this is very hard because in most cases, in most companies, the high management is quite easy to find, but then when you grow, it's not that obvious who should be the middle manager, right? So yeah, you should train these people, find them, and especially think about it, right? So we say that we work in a team of teams, right? We have a team of high management, then each of us has his own team of managers, and we work together too, and then these team managers, these managers work with their own teams. So we have this structure, this cascade of teams. Define the rhythm. This is very important. That helped us a lot with maintaining the communication and the work. So this is the example of what we do in Vile Monarch. So we have a rhythm of meetings. So of course, be very reasonable, not do too long meetings and not waste time on that if it's not necessary. But you should have some rhythm. So we have every Monday 20-minute update, like a stand-up of all managers, high managers in the company to discuss what's going on in every project. Every Thursday we meet in this high management group for 1 hour to solve something that is, some current problems. See what's going on last week or 2 weeks ago and solve it. So we will have every week at least 1 hour of problem solving. Every quarter we meet for all-day meeting, and most of the times outside of the office, outside of the company to get enough distance. We had this meeting of high management to plan next quarter and what was, and summarize the previous one, so we'll know where we're heading. The same thing we do every year to meet and to work on some long-term strategy, even for a couple of years in advance. And yeah, we also rhythm of meetings in each department, each project. So it differs on a project between projects because you should adapt it to the specific needs. But yeah, we have it. So properly created rhythm should look like you have a Google Calendar and you have your meetings, booked for a year in advance. Not all the time, right? But you have these meetings, you have these places that you have to meet and discuss some current problems and current things. That helped us a lot. So I would very much encourage you to do so. Forget about self-organization. I believed in self-organization for quite a long time. I thought that every professional can organize everything around their work properly, but I don't think it's true. Some people can, some people cannot, and you shouldn't force people to do something they don't want to do, and you should help them with their organization. So on production things, so you should have strictly defined and executed processes of how you produce specific things in the game, how the milestones are delivered, what are the sprints, and so on. So define it and execute it, and have people that will take care of it. So have producers, hire them. We are not hiring producers for many years, and that was a big mistake because we lost a lot of time of developers, like, sorry, because producer is also a developer, but of programmers, designers, and so on production tasks when they could focus on doing actual games. So hire producers that will work on that will work on your Jira, help everyone with the communication, with creating tickets, and all of this stuff. Yeah, save time with the developers. This is really crucial. Build HR, so that sounds corporate, but yeah, we need that. We need people who will take care of taking care of people, right? So because there's tons of things that happen when the company grows. There's a lot of time you have to spend on hiring process, on onboarding and offboarding, so it will look professional and everyone will know what's going on in the company. So you have these people for problem solving, a lot of times like personal problems or any sort of the problems. There's also employer branding to create and maintain and communicate. So hire people who specialize in that and will save, and will focus purely on that and will do it their best, right? So I think that even above, maybe above 30 people, it's already worth to have one HR person that will purely focus on that. We have already, I think, 3 people on that, and I think we need 3rd one for 80 people company. Hire legal, so that was not obvious also for me. that we need very close communication with lawyers, not like every month or something like that, but very constantly, almost on a daily basis. So hire one for your company if you're big enough, or work closely with some law office that specializes in game development, because when you grow, there's more and more problems that you should take care of, especially that you don't know these people you will hire. So, all the agreements should be done properly, signed on date, and so on and so on. So that's why we work closely with legal office that will help us, with employment contracts that will be templated for everyone the same way, freelance contracts, because we use a lot of that. We also, since we have a couple of games all the time in the development, we do a lot of agreements with publishers and investors. So you also you need someone that will know your company, know your goals, and will, negotiate your contracts in a proper way, will help you. And all of the things around IP management as well. So everything will be secured, everything will be legal, so no problems will happen in the future. So this is very important as well. Communication is crucial. That was also problematic when we started to grow, because people didn't know what's going on. When we have a couple of projects, couple of teams, people don't know what's going on in the other team, especially during pandemic. So we fixed that also in a couple of ways. So first of all, have one place somewhere on the internet with all the information that is important about your company. In our case, it's Confluence, it can be Wiki, Google Docs, whatever. So the central place when everyone can go and find all the informations that are relevant on the company and on the projects. Plus, we introduced weekly newsletters. Every week on Monday, we write a newsletter with news from every project, what's going on, what are the challenges, what are the accomplishments. We put some screenshots there, so people will be proud of what they did and will see what the other team did. And we also put there some informations like around the company as well, like on business side, what are the goals, what are the problems, challenges, and so on. We also additionally do quarterly company meetings when we try to gather everyone, at least on a call, but if it's possible, if it's safe, then also in real life, then where we can do like a bigger update with some bigger plans and to present it and meet in person. And repeat. This is very important, to repeat the same information all the time. The mission, core values, the plans, when do you want to release your game, and so on. Because I assumed if I will say something once or twice, it will be enough, but it's not. People just tend to forget things. So you should repeat things all the time and not be mad about it. So prepare for that. But repeat. Maintain ownership. So identify all the topics, all the departments, all the processes in your company, like HR, hiring, software management, hardware management, all the things that are happening there, and assign one owner that will own this topic. So it will be first go-to person when something doesn't work, and that person is also responsible, so this one aspect of your company will work properly. So create such a list, assign people to these topics, and put this list on this public place, so every employee in the company can check it and see where they should go with each problem. So that people will not lose time on asking everyone where they should go with something. This is very important as well. Gather feedback. So when we communicate in one way, we also want to gather as much feedback as is possible. And when the team is small, it's very easy because we talk with everyone all the time, so you have feedback on a daily basis. But when you grow, especially high managers tend to go, get the distance to the team, and they don't know what's exactly happening on the very bottom when in the actual development. So it's very important to implement some ways for gathering feedback as frequently as possible, so you will see what's going on, if there are any problems, and so on. Because, for example, if someone wants to change the company or is not happy with the job, it doesn't happen with a day. Sometimes it's a process of half of a year or a year that someone is not happy with something, and it makes him angry, and then he leaves. So if we will know about it earlier, we can solve the problems and maybe make this person stay with us for longer. So this is crucial. So we implemented a couple of ways. So first of all, we have regular checkpoints and evaluations of everyone in the company, and the rule is that at least 2 times a year, everyone will have this talk with his manager, with his lead, with whoever it will be, to pass him feedback about his work, but also hear what's going on, how he feels in the company, is he happy, if not, then why, what can we do to solve the problem. So do it as often as possible, but at least twice a year. So each of the half of a year. We also do every year surveys on general satisfaction, so everyone can anonymously, because this is also important to do a way of talking anonymously and anonymously, because some people can be scared of their managers and so on. So we do surveys on general satisfaction that are anonymous to check how it's, to gather some numbers and see how we perform as a company. And also we do like 360-degree surveys on all managers and leads. So all the people that are managed by someone can judge and can pass feedback, anonymous feedback on their leaders, whether everything is proper or not. Thanks to that, we solved so many problems and saved so many jobs that, that I think this is one of the best tools we implement in last year. So do it often, hear people, and evolve. And yeah, so evolve on the go. Because we are running out of time. You will, of course, fail a lot of things. There will be problems and so on. But the very important thing is to communicate in one way and gather feedback and adapt as soon as possible and as good as possible. I would also say you should read a lot of books, because there's tons of books on management, on good management. Go to conferences, talk to other bosses, because I think a lot of guys who run the studio want to share their experience and also hear your experience. So this is amazing. We talk in Poland, for example, between the companies a lot to help each other. Because when someone is bigger already, we can ask, hey, how do you solve this? How do you solve that? Yeah, so this is very important to do. This is a summary of all the topics, but I will jump to another one. These are out of all the books I already checked. I would like to propose 3 of these. Scaling up, all of them are not about games. First one is about general book about companies, about scaling this up from a couple of people up to thousands. So it's beyond what we can do, right? But they have a lot of great suggestions based on their experience of running tons of businesses. So this is great. And the other 2 are from military, US military, how they started to be more agile and fixed some problems, and how they could be efficient in a team of thousands of people. So the team of teams and extreme ownership. So I would very suggest starting with this 3, and then go with the others if you want. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you for your lecture. Very interesting. I remind you that if you have questions, we have a microphone here in the middle of this room. I don't know. I'm also a person who are running my own small indie studio, so it's very, how to say it, it's very useful for me. And first thing I want to interesting from you, meaning that you are growing up with more people, and it means that more salaries, it means that you will spend more and more money. So what are you funding? So it's, do you have an investor, or you working on only on things that you sell on Steam?
Okay, so our model is that we create prototypes or pitches, and then we go to the publishers and look for a publishing deal that includes funding. So we mostly take the investments from the publishers on the project.
Okay, so this is how you show it, that you have R&D team who prepare this pitch. You go to publisher, and if publisher say yes and funding, you start growing up team for this project.
Yes. Or or we planned, okay, this project will end in a half of a year, so some of people can move from this project to a new one. So we will have projects in this scheme.
Okay, understood. Okay, we have a question.
Hello.
Hello.
First of all, congrats for the beautiful presentation and for your successes.
Thank you.
I got a question about scaling up and how people perceive scaling up. So how many times as a boss have you heard from the people who remember the romantic first days of the company when you evolve? Oh, you have changed. I mean, it used to be so cool in the past. Now we're so corporate, and the company is not the way it used to be. So do you hear that? And when you do, how are you trying to mediate that, or to find solutions for that?
I hear it all the time from these old team members. So when I talk to people who say that, I try to focus on facts. And okay, we were smaller. Maybe it was more romantic because we were all sitting in one flat. But we had smaller salaries. We were very unstable business. We had a lot of things that were done in proper way. And now we have this that makes us very solid. We survived 7 years, and then on the beginning it was very uncertain. So when you show them the image of okay, I think it's good, then it solves the problem. But still, some people prefer to work in a smaller company, and you can do nothing about it. They will just move to a smaller company to work in a team of 10 people, and that's fine. So because it's impossible to do company for everyone. So. But still, I think we hear more positive news, more positive comments than bad comments on that you changed.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, but maybe one more thing is very important, that when you created this vision of your company, the mission and the values that you had when you were small, you should maintain them when you will be big. So this is very important. So you will be more corporate, more stable and so on, more procedural, but you should still try to have this feeling and the spirit you had on the very beginning. So I think we have it, but yeah, it's people who should judge it.
Cool.
Thanks.
Hi there. So I have a question more close to the earth. So you've been talking about the more abstract things, but what tools for organizing processes you are using, and what kind of evolution has had to happen? Thank you.
So yeah, we use not use Jira, we use UTrack. So we use it for managing, for example, production of the games, but we also use it for defining some processes in the company. So for example, we have some stages. I know hiring process is like a similar stages as doing a game, because you have stages, clear stages, what is after what. So we use UTrack for that, or we use for recruitation. Actually, we started to use, I don't remember the name, unfortunately, but there's a lot of solutions in the internet that you can buy a subscription for when there's a form where people can apply, and there's this automated process where you can plug in all the managers and people for streamlining this process. We just simply sometimes write some charts or steps in documents or on Confluence. Okay, this is what happens if, I don't know, someone wants to buy a new mouse. Then we have this, I don't know, 5 steps solution written down on Confluence. So very, very simple thing. I don't think we have anything more automated for that, but maybe we'll introduce it some in the future. But for us, very important was not especially to use specific tools for that, but to write down the processes. So if there's something happening in the company, let's see how it goes right now, write down all the steps and try to optimize it on the paper even, yeah? And then when you have it written down, it already does work. So I think that's good for us.
Okay, thank you.
So you mentioned that you use Confluence, but UTrack has its wiki and you don't like it? Sorry, it's a bit tangent, but...
think it was a historical decision that we already had some knowledge in Confluence, and then we introduced UTrack. So I'm not sure why we don't use wiki in UTrack.
Okay, thank you.
Because when you put a lot of documentation in one place, it's very hard to move it to somewhere else. So it will stay like that here. But whatever works for your company. So
just interesting question for me.
okay.
Hello. We're quite a small team at the moment, but going forward, how did you allocate time to putting these procedures in place when you're trying to concentrate on the development? Because obviously it's important to put procedures in place for when you grow, but if you're developing through that process, how did you allocate your time to split between the development process and putting time into making the structure for growing?
I don't think we do it properly. So we always, see the problem too late. But for example, myself, I don't do games for years already because I don't have time. I need to focus on the company. But I think the rule of thumb for us is when someone develops the game and manages something in the company, when we see that he has so many topics from the company that he undermines the development of the project, we should do a change and hire a person that will take over his development jobs or his company jobs. So depending on what this person prefers to do also. But I think this is our thumb of rule. But sometimes we did it too late, much too late. So yeah, just see how it goes. Because also I saw that development tasks and like a company's tasks are a bit different. So because in the company, when you have, I don't know, big task of defining new recruitment process or something, it can take weeks to deliver that, but you don't have a specific deadline. And on development of the game, everyone depends on each other. So you cannot like just stop doing that and switch to something else because someone is already working for your commits, right? I had this problem with programming because I was programming, and then I saw, okay, there's I don't know, some issue from the publisher. I need to check the agreement if everything is all right. And now I'm switching off from the development and I slow down whole team because they wait for my commit of the code. So then I realized, okay, I shouldn't do. Maybe I could do some, tasks for fun that are not that people don't depend on when it comes to time. So yeah, like in short, again, like see if no, the company tasks are undermining the development, because development is crucial. Like it has to go steadily, and yeah. So look at this. Thanks.
Can you tell me, you have a lot of people working, doing some stuff, and how exactly you understand that things in your company doing well or not? What is your metrics? What you need to see to understand that things going well?
So first of all, because we, thanks to that we work with the publishers, we have very strict development plans, like milestones that has to be delivered and has to have defined quality and content. So this is very important for us to see if the milestones are meeting the requirements. So we have requirements from publishers, but then based on that we prepare our own requirements and internal milestones and so on. So we just check it if the production goes in a tempo that we assumed, and if not, then what can we do and why it happens. Maybe we underestimated the budget, maybe we need to renegotiate it, or maybe there's something wrong in the team. So looking at the just the progress of the project is enough for us, and this evaluations and talks with people to check if other things like a more soft things are properly done. This is the other way, the surveys and so on. And thanks to not thanks, but also for that we have this meeting in every week of all managers of all the projects, so they can say, okay, we have problems with that, let's solve it. We have problems with that, and with in that project everything is fine. So every week I have an update what's going on in every project. And that helps. That works somehow.
Yes, and this thing I want to clarify, because you said that you have a meeting about problems. And so it's not just a meeting where every manager talks about what we done, what we're planning to done. So it's exactly about the problems, yes? You have a meeting.
Like this update is, it's about everything that's relevant. So what we progressed, and if the problems are, then tell us the problems. So I think the both things are very important.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and so we have a question.
Yeah, hi. Thank you for the presentation. I have two questions. One is about, I'll start with the product focus. When a small team creates something good, it's usually not a problem and everybody feels being responsible for the end product. When you grow up, and from 5 teams you become, I don't know, 15 teams, it's much harder to still remember for every individual that he or she is not creating a good feature, but working on a big product. Mm-hmm. And they all work on the same product. Do you have any, I don't know, ceremonies like events that are have a goal to like keep people or remember that it's their product?
So it's not that big problem in our case, because although we are bigger company, like 80 people, but the teams are like up to 30. So it's not that big problem that that people are feeling that they are not doing the big product. But for us, we could do a couple of ways to help with that. So especially, I don't know, creative director of the project tries to talk with every individual from time to time to maybe talk about his progress, what we can do, what we can fix, and so on. We have also that, I think another thing that helps is that we have, for example, daily tests routine. So every day in the morning, a different person is randomly chosen from the team, and that person has to play the game for 1 or 2 hours and write its feedback. So this is the way to force people to play their own game and see how their small chunk of work helped the whole game, because we saw that not everyone plays the game, especially when the schedule is very tight and they don't have time. They don't play their own game and they forgot about the big picture. So thanks to that, it helps them to be reunited with the project, and also bring us. This is another good thing, is that we have constant tests that everyone can. Every day we have a feedback document with some bug reports and so on, and general impressions, so we can very quickly see if something went wrong. So this is another thing. The other thing is that for every milestone or something like that, the creative director takes the game and plays publicly with whole team and comments the game. So also everyone can see how, the boss sees the game and how he likes every part of it. I think we try to also communicate all the time all the things that are happening around the game. So for example, hey guys, the publisher is working on a new trailer. Check this out. This will go to the world, and you should be proud of it, right? So also this, motivational speeches are very important, especially when the development is hard. So I think it's very important, especially in pandemic, to do some calls, meetings when with a camera to show yourself, and even in a simple words say, hey guys, thank you for your work. You do an amazing job. Every one of you creates something amazing, and we will show it to the world, and players already wait for it. So yeah.
Do you share product results with the team? Like financial results,
no,
metrics and so on?
We sometimes show, when we reach a sales milestone, 100K copies, 500, yeah, doesn't matter. Yeah,
Any
like a milestone of the sales. We say, hey guys, we sold this amount of copies on this platforms and so on. We say if the project is financially profitable or not, but we rather not share specific numbers, because we are afraid that people sometimes perceive it improper. Because if we will say, okay, the game earned $1 million, so is it a lot or is it not enough, right? So we usually don't say these numbers, but I don't say it's the only way. So I know some companies that are very, very open on the numbers, and we are just not.
It only works when people understand what was the goal. So if you simply share the numbers, it says nothing.
I feel sorry because we are running out of time, and we need to
if you want to talk, we can meet outside.
Thank you. Next lecture. But yes, you can find Grzegorz everywhere here and talk about this, because it's really interesting topic, and it's a lot of questions that also need to be asked. So yeah,
it was just the tip of an iceberg. We can talk hours about that.
Yes. Very thank you for this lecture.
Thank you very much.